Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. I'm Mike.
I'm Pete.
And today we're going to review the new Jurassic World Rebirth film. PJ actually had early access. He's going to talk about how we got access to it. I'm curious, PJ, to hear your review about it. And is it a rebirth or is it a reboot or a remake? We'll find out.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. How did you get access to it? I know, but for the audience.
Right. So AMC has what they call screen unseens. So it's always a Monday. It's every couple of weeks. Sometimes it's every week. Sometimes every couple of weeks. You get tickets for a movie. You don't know what it's going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a complete surprise. So just so you know what kind of movies I've seen lately, just to get an idea of the level of film, right? I've seen Magazine Dreams. The Penguin Lessons was one I saw. 40 Acres, My Dead Friend Zoe. Movies that are drop was another one. So not necessarily. Some are of varying levels of blockbuster size, right?
Yes.
Some are very small movies. Some are medium level movies. Like Drop is a medium level movie. Something like 40 Acres, probably not that big a movie, right? Legend of Ochi was another one. It's a small movie. Usually it's movies that need a little more word of mouth to get people to go to the theater. So they give you early access so that you can talk it up to your friends and maybe they make a couple extra bucks for the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the premise of a screen unseen. They never tell you in advance what the movie is. They only tell you three things. If it's horror, because people don't like horror, so they don't want to like surprise you with that shit. People have like trauma from seeing that. So they tell you if it's a horror movie. They tell you the rating of the movie, so you have an idea if it's appropriate to bring your kid or not.
Right. Okay.
And they tell you the approximate run time of the film. So those are the only things you'll know going in. And, there's always a lot of talk online. People try and guess what it is based on the information available to them.
Right.
The success rate, I'm guessing, is 60-40 with people not getting it right. So for the most part, you really don't know. You get lucky here and there. You figure it out when it's going to be. A lot of folks on the West Coast, they make their decision as to whether or not they're going to go to the screen unseen, because it's the same across every AMC theater.
Right.
So they make their decision based on the East Coast seeing it first and putting online what the movie is, and then the West Coast can decide if they want to go or not. But we're in New York, so we're the guinea pigs. We don't know what it's going to be. So you really are going in as blind as possible. So anyway, it turns out it is Jurassic World Rebirth. So very, very big movie for this sort of screen unseen. You don't usually see a big release, so it was really cool to get to see it early. There was no magic behind an early screening for me or anything like that. Just a lot of good luck.
Yeah. So with this guy's Gareth Edwards directed this film. And I was kind of curious. I know his name before, and I was like, let me see his back catalog. He's only directed 5 films. 3 out of those 5 is obviously Jurassic World. But the other one, I think his first, I'll say, big major blockbuster was Godzilla 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of set that whole universe.
That whole monsterverse, yeah.
Yeah, that really kind of set it off. And
yep.
I like that movie. I wanted to like it more, but it was fine.
I know what you mean. Like, I liked it, but I'm also like, you could have gave me a little more Godzilla in that. And
yeah, felt a bit,
it was just like on the cusp of being what you wanted it to be.
Yeah. And then also the other big one out of his small catalog is Star Wars Rogue One, which is a good film. I like that one.
Yeah, everyone loves that movie. Yeah.
Good movie. Maybe tonally a little bit too straight, but still a very good movie though.
Do you think Universal saw that he made a Godzilla movie and was like, well, he has a good grasp on big lizards, let's give him Jurassic World? Like, do you think that's like where the jump came from? Because for a guy with a small resume, he's getting a lot of big franchises. He's got Godzilla, Star Wars, Jurassic World under his belt. Like, what makes you pick a relatively unknown guy for big franchises? I wonder if they were like, oh, all right, well, he made Godzilla look. I think maybe he could do that with a dinosaur.
Yeah. I think they just said, you know what? Those are big movies. I was thinking, you and I talked earlier. I thought it was the guy. I also thought he did Cloverfield.
Right.
I was wrong. It was actually Matt Reeves. I didn't realize that. But yeah, I think clearly the studio says like, hey, this guy has the ability to do it. And I think it makes sense for him to get a franchise like this. So good for him. So PJ, kind of tell us, just kind of, and folks at home, we're not going to do any major spoilers or anything like that because the movie just came out. We're not going to do that. But PJ is basically going to give us kind of the plot summary, what kind of
Yep.
gets this story in motion, where does it take place after the previous, I guess, sequel trilogy? Jurassic World,
Right.
what was it Dominion, Jurassic Falling Kingdom?
All
Might
that
have that
bullshit.
in
Yep.
order.
I'm gonna start off with one. I won't call it a huge spoiler, but one spoiler because I kind of needed to set the stage, and then I'm gonna try my best to keep this spoiler free going forwards.
Hmm.
Just so everyone knows, this review will start with the smallest of spoilers, and then we'll go on from there.
Yep.
So when the last Jurassic World that came out, which was maybe it was Dominion, whichever the third Chris Pratt one was,
Yeah. Yeah.
the one that had everybody in it, right? They brought
Right.
back Alan Grant, they bring back Ian Malcolm, they bring back the whole crew, right? That one.
Hmm.
That ends basically with dinosaurs in the wild, right? Like
Yeah.
that was the end of that movie. They're in America. They're everywhere. They're just in the world. That last movie became less about the dinosaurs and more about the genetics. They're cloning kids.
Yeah.
There's a
It's like
whole
wasn't it like bugs too, like
there was
locusts,
bugs. There's
like
a whole
cicadas.
subplot with like mosquitoes and shit, or
Right.
swarms of like wasps, whatever they were.
Yeah.
Right. And it gets more about the genetics and the lab creating things than it does about dinosaurs, right? And I think universally we all agreed that movie was not good.
Yeah.
Right.
I never saw it actually. Because the second one was so dumb. I didn't even have. I just know my
Yeah.
brother actually told me a really good uh recap of what it was about. I was like, yeah, I can't watch it.
Yeah. It's the second two Jurassic Worlds are not great movies. There's, like I said, clone kids, weird bugs, a whole thing. Right. So knowing it ended on such a note where I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to see any more of this. The minute they announced another Jurassic World, I was like, don't do it. Just
Yeah, I know. I
let
felt
it
the same
die.
way.
Well, we got to beat this dead horse again. Like, come on. But it's Jurassic Park and I like dinosaurs, so I was going to see it. And either way, I guess. So whatever. The movie starts off, and you very quickly realize that they need to move past that dinosaurs in the wild. They know nobody gives a shit about it. They have to address it. How do you not address it? Right? So what do we do? So here's the spoiler. It starts off and they basically tell you the dinosaurs that were free are dying out. There's very few left. They require tropical weather to survive long term. And if you're not at the equator, there's no tropical, and the weather's not tropical enough. Some of the dinosaurs are in zoos, but for the most part, they're all dead. And we don't
Hmm.
have to deal with dinosaurs in the wild anymore. That's like really the only spoiler I'll give, but I had to set the stage for how this movie gets to where it is,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they basically apologize to us for the last two movies, undo it real quick, and now we're on to what's going to be the movie. That whole opening is about 25-ish, 30 minutes. And as you're watching it, it's a real like, no, this movie's gonna be terrible feeling. Like it's not a great opening.
Right. That's a long time.
It's a
25
long
minutes. Because I think
it's a
the real movies, I looked up the running time. It's rather short. It's only
it's like
2 hours and
2
13
hours
minutes.
and yeah, it's 2 hours and change, yeah, and it takes about 25 minutes to get through all that. So you're watching it and you're like, "Oh, this is a mistake. This is a mistake." Once they kind of get past that towards the end of that 25 minutes and you start to see where the story's going to go, it does pick up. Stick with it through that. If you're seeing the movie, don't hate it after the first couple of minutes because it will pick up, right? So that sets the stage. Now, I don't want to spoil the story for anybody because it is new. By the time this episode drops, it'll probably be the day the movie releases. So I don't want to ruin anyone's experience with the movie by any stretch. So I'm just going to kind of stick to my feelings and the tone of the movie. So in terms of tone, right? I felt like this movie did not feel like the other Jurassic Worlds for sure.
Okay.
Those movies were kind of, in my opinion, a little too jokey, right? And I felt like it was a little too much of a rehash of the original Jurassic Parks. It's
Yeah.
always about going back to a park or going back to the
Yeah, the island.
other
Where the
island
site
that
B, site C, site XYZ.
right. They're all very formulaic. You kind of know what you're getting going into it. This movie takes a bit of a departure from that. And again, I won't spoil it. They do obviously have to go back to Dino Island because
Yeah.
it's Jurassic Park. But the reason that they go there is definitely something not explored in any of the other films. The reason they need to see these dinosaurs again, brand new.
Hmm.
The vibe of the movie almost gives you more horror vibes than Dino Island movies typically do. So that's kind of cool. Like there's a lot of stuff in there that you're like, oh shit, that was unexpected, and I enjoy the tone of the movie. I'm a big Jurassic Park fan. The first one is probably in my top 3 favorite movies.
Right.
I think Jurassic Park is, to me, what Jaws was to people in the era of Jaws.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm always very protective of like that first movie because you can't live up to it. And if you ask me right now, is this as good as the first Jurassic Park?
No
No,
way. Yeah.
no, don't kid yourself. It's never going to be that good. Do I think this movie brings something new to the franchise that is enjoyable, that adds on to the lore of the Jurassic Park franchise? I very much do. I think
Okay.
this movie, compared to any of the other Jurassic Worlds, and maybe even compared to the other 2 Jurassic Park movies, I think this movie is really adds a new layer to this franchise.
Oh, okay.
Whether someone loves what it brings or hates what it brings, it does bring something refreshing and new to it. In terms of the cast, the role that they give Scarlett Johansson, I thought she did a good job. I think Scarlett's a good actress. I mean, I have
Yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
issue with her performance in any other movies. I had no issue with her performance in this. I think she plays it as well as she possibly could. The star of this movie, he steals every scene that he's in, is Jonathan Bailey.
Okay. Which was he's like the is that the nerdy guy from the
He's
trailer?
the yes, Jonathan Bailey
Okay.
is the nerdy scientist character for this movie. He's been in other movies. I'll pull up his filmography real quick, just so people know what else he's from because you've heard of him. You just don't. You may not even realize you've heard of him, but you have. He was in he was in Wicked.
Oh
He
wow.
was in yeah, he was in Wicked. He was in Bridgerton. He did, I think, a voice in one of the Final Fantasy animes. He was in 2 episodes of Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. He's done some stuff. He's not
Yeah.
the biggest actor, but he's done some things that you've heard
Yeah,
of.
yeah,
Wicked
yeah.
probably
Those
the
are
biggest.
yeah, those
Yeah. Steals every scene he is in. That guy should be a star.
mm,
Like he really should. I was as I'm watching, I'm like, damn, this guy is a great actor. Really believable in the role. Like
yeah,
the obviously he's the scientist of the group, so he's the Alan Grant of this group, right? Like that is
right.
sort of his role in the movie, and so believable in that role. I'm like, this guy does this in real life. He hunts dinosaurs in real life. He studies
Yeah.
them. I don't know. He knows what he's doing. Really a highlight of the film was that guy. So the casting was great. It has I never say this guy's name right, Marshala Ali.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Another great actor, great role for him. Really, the acting in this movie carries the script. So when the script is clunky at points, because it is, these actors really elevate the film in a good way.
Yeah.
I think top tier acting from the main stars for sure. Like I said, again, tone and vibe way different, but very enjoyable. Bring
So
something new to the
so
franchise.
yeah, so you said it's more horror. Is it more like a lot of jump scare kind of thing, or is it just a lot of just like kind of like suspense maybe? Is it more like is
It,
it less is there less action and more of that kind of suspense, like they're getting stalked or they're trying to like hide behind a bush
in
or something?
order to answer this, I got to give a pretty big size spoiler.
You didn't say the magic word.
So what is it more action? Or is it more just more of that kind of like horror? Like
It's
or what's
split
the movie that can
50-50, but it's the same amount of action as you get in any Jurassic Park. They're running away from dinosaurs, and
right,
so
okay, okay.
there's you know what I mean. But the horror element comes in. There are some jump scares for sure,
Mhm.
but it's horror in as much as Alien is horror, like
Okay,
that
okay, okay.
sci-fi horror realm.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Okay,
I got you.
okay. It's like it's more sci-fi horror, but without going too far into like changing what the tone of a Jurassic Park movie should be.
Right. Okay. Okay, okay.
There are a couple of other characters that you meet throughout the way that add some that just add some plot device, to keep the story moving. So there really there's 3 characters in the movie that or 4 characters that aren't that they have a storyline in the movie, but it's a very simple plot line, and they're really just there to to help you understand the personalities of your main people.
Sure.
So it is a big cast. It is a big cast. I will say, as I'm watching the movie, right, a couple of times I looked over to my dad and I was like, this is way better than it should be.
Right.
Like
Okay.
I went in with very low expectations, so I don't know if that's why I liked it more than maybe other people will, but there are parts I'm like, damn, this is a good movie. This is a solid movie. It's not going to win an award.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not going to get
It's like
any
that kind of
awards.
movie.
Right. It's not that kind of movie. But I mean, for my money, had I paid, screen unseens are cheaper, and I got in for
Yeah.
free because I have the stubs pass and all that other stuff. But if I would have paid full price for the movie, I would have been like, all right, that was worth my
Right.
25
Yeah.
bucks. I didn't feel disappointed in it at all in that respect. Could things have been tighter? Sure. Could things have been edited better? Sure. Every movie's going to have that. Is there a way to shave 10, 15 minutes off this movie? Yeah, there is.
Mhm.
Did I mind the way they edited and cut it? No, I didn't mind it at all. I didn't feel like I was sitting there for 2.5 hours or anything.
Yeah.
I thought it moved pretty quickly. They did not do a lot of fan service.
Okay.
Their eagle-eyed viewers will spot a couple of nods to the old movies, but this isn't like, oh, that's the car that
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
drove
That's
in,
the
or
Jeep
that's
that fell off that
right.
ledge. Yeah.
Exactly. It was none of that kind of shit, right? It's not like, oh, that's the kitchen they were in when they were hiding, and that's the
Right. They're
none.
probably better off.
Yeah,
So.
if very few nods, and the nods that they give are meaningful, where
Mhm.
they're there and you notice them, but you know why it's there, and you just kind of move past it. So I thought that was done well too. They weren't just like giving you the same old shit again. It was, I would say, on the cool kids rating system,
Yeah.
I would give this movie, I would give it a chicken nugget, I think.
Wow. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I really liked it. A lot of people will probably disagree with me, I think, on this one, but I do think it's a chicken nugget.
That's our highest rank.
Is yeah, you know what it is, and I would
That's like
watch it.
basically a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, for me,
Mhm.
like we said in our last episode, like we don't go in trying to hate these movies.
Right.
I would watch this movie. I'm gonna watch this movie again. I'm going back to the theaters to see it again this week.
Okay. There you go. All
Yeah.
right.
I would give it, the lowest it gets is a pizza and fries. The highest is a chicken nugget. I don't know what else
Yeah.
people would want out of a franchise that has been beaten to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I look at it in that terms too. Like it's not as good as the first Jurassic Park, but if I have to grade it to the first Jurassic Park only,
Mhm.
then no, then it's peanut butter and jelly if I got to compare it to the first Jurassic Park. If I look at it on its own and I forget that there are 12 other Dino Island movies,
Right.
then I can give it that high graded chicken nugget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem fair to compare anything to the first Jurassic.
Right.
I don't know if to me, when I was going through the grading system, I don't think it's right to compare it to Jurassic Park because
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, I don't think that's even. I
you know what
think
I
most
mean?
folks who are listening don't
Yeah,
expect it to be better than that. It sounds like it's been better than the last 2 movies that came out.
a
Jurassic
million
World
percent better.
Dominion, Fallen Kingdom. It's better than those 2, and it's probably.
100%
And it
better than
sounds
those
like it's probably. I think universally people can agree that Jurassic Park 1, Jurassic World are one of the obviously the best ones. I think you and I both agree Jurassic Park 3 was very good. This
Yep.
maybe sounds like it might fall behind that, maybe 4th in those top
Yeah.
3.
Yep. I think this is a solid 4th or 5th in the franchise, probably 4th.
Mm-hmm.
4th or 5th depends on where you put the first Jurassic World.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, PJ. I'm sure, is there any kind of setup for a sequel, or? And I
They're
know that's a
really
spoiler, or
they
just
really don't set it. There's no after the credit scene, and it ends in a way where you don't need to do this again.
okay, all right,
And the fact that this movie is better than the last couple, I don't think they should do anymore. They called it Rebirth, which makes
right,
you feel like they're going to do more.
yeah, of course,
But
but maybe
I
more,
would
maybe not so connected. Maybe it's like the maybe they're gonna go the route of the Planet of the Apes films, where you always had the main Caesar, but you never really had James. Is it James Franco or
yeah.
right? James Franco, yeah. I get
Yeah.
mixed up with his brother. He wasn't right before he got canceled. I mean, he wasn't like the main
Yeah.
character. Like you always had the same same universe, same
Right.
Caesar was the main dude. Maybe they're trying to do that with this one, where like maybe Scarlett Johansson won't be in it. Maybe it's just that guy, that nerdy guy.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's
kind of
things they
thread.
could do. I mean, there's always another reason to go back to the island.
Oh yeah.
There's always another reason. Um, I'll do my pitch right now for what I would make if they were like, hey, you have to make the next Jurassic Park movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would do this much, much different at this point, where we know there are dinosaurs now living along the equator.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of islands and stuff on the equator, right? I would honestly not even have the next movie follow a scientist or a genetics lab. These dinosaurs are already there, and there could be people native to the islands, like tribes or whatever that live there. And I would almost go the route of having the next movie be about there are people already on this island that have been there, and now the dinosaurs are there, and how does their ecosystem work?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that it's not a matter of why do we have to send more people to the island? How are the people in these tropics that are already, for lack of a better word, they're hunters and gatherers to survive, right?
Yeah.
And how are they doing that in a present day world with a raptor on their island and stuff? Are they hunting dinosaurs and eating them? Is that, I would do something that in that vein. That would be my pitch.
I always thought, and maybe they did this in the film, but I always felt like they should go the route of like doing like poaching. You know what I mean? Like you get some wackos,
right?
Who're just like obsessed with hunting, and then you send in another crew who has to like conservationist, blah blah blah.
Right.
And, that I always thought that would be the route, because like if you want to kill the ultimate game, I mean, T-Rex,
like Kraven the Hunter has to kill that T-Rex.
Exactly. You get some wackos. So I always thought they would go that realm.
There are things they can do to keep the franchise alive, but I think they have to move away from we're going back to the island.
Yeah.
We don't need that anymore.
Actually, just as we're wrapping up, did they do the did they play the theme song?
Of course they do.
All right, okay.
It's not
as like
John Williams doesn't do the score for this one.
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
So it's not just his score, but they incorporate it into that. Here's a fun fact that I learned. I was watching an interview with Jonathan Bailey. He plays the clarinet, and they invited him into the studio to watch them record the score. And he was like, I bring the clarinet. Can I bring my clarinet? And they were like, yeah. And they let him play on the soundtrack. And at one point, there's a clarinet solo, and they let him play it, and he plays the solo for his theme in the movie.
That's very cool. Oh,
yeah, that was cool. So, solid movie to watch. Very fun. If you're going to see a movie in a theater for the summer, Jurassic Park's not a bad way to start off your summer blockbuster season at all, because you're going to get Jurassic Park, then you're going to get Superman, you're going to get Fantastic Four. We have a big summer lineup of blockbuster movies, and Jurassic World Rebirth is a super solid way to start off your summer movie experience.
Yeah, nice. So it sounds like you definitely recommend it.
I 100% recommend it. I wish I could have given more spoilers, because I could say more about the things that I really liked. I don't want to spoil it for people, but some of the things I like are heavily rooted in the spoilers.
Nice. So yeah, folks, that's it. I was trying to think of a line from Jurassic Park to kind of end it off with, but
yeah, the podcast will find a way.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, same time, same table.
Have a good one.
That is one big pile of shit.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.